Stephen A. Smith. Do you think he should be reinstated?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to lean towards no, but I'm hopeful for him. I wish him nothing but the best. But we're talking about an individual that was, that was gone before. And after receiving banishment, it was allowed to come back. And then before the season began, had to reinstate himself into a rehab clinic because of these issues. And I'm all for doing anything that you can to help him. So from that vantage point, in terms of second chances, third chances, or whatever the case may be, anything that will help the guy, I'm supportive of. But he's had these issues on the books since 2012. He hasn't played in a game since 2014. In the time that he's been away from the Cleveland Browns, they've been 4-37. He's wrecked this franchise because of his greatness and the absence and what the absence of him has meant to the franchise. And it comes down, Max and Coach, to reliability, dependability. The best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available. To ask me this question is to ask me essentially whether or not I believe that he's trustworthy enough to be given this opportunity. I do not, but I am hopeful. And I must say that if I were Roger Goodell, would I give him the opportunity? Sure. But it's conditional for a reason. It's conditional reinstatement for a reason. That's them essentially saying, we don't trust you, but we're hopeful. And that's where I'm at with the league. And the fact that I'm where the league is gives me cause to pause. I would much rather see him allowed back to the team, back into the facilities, allowed to be around the guys, and allowed that level of supervision without necessarily being thrusted back into the scheme of things. But I guess you can't have it. You can't have it all.
The question for me, the answer is yes. I'm glad he's being reinstated. Because
glad.
I think the league, the people who are on top of it, who are dealing with him, are in a better position to know whether he's a recovering addict or an addict, than we are from where we're sitting. If he's an addict still and just an addict, then he shouldn't be playing. But it appears to me that they believe he is a recovering addict. And in that case, then I think he should play. Look, on Uninterrupted, Stephen A., he had that, that mini doc. He comes out, the LeBron James, Maverick Carter thing. He comes out and says what he used. That sounds like a recovering addict to me. He's not denying it or being vague about it. He's talking about it. He said he used Xanax and marijuana and alcohol and cocaine occasionally, which is a hard drug, and methazine. And, he went into prescription stuff he used, over-the-counter stuff he used, recreational drugs, harder recreational drugs. And that seems to me to be the kind of honest assessment of himself that indicates maybe a recovering addict. And since the people who are dealing with this believe he's also seem to me to believe he's a recovering addict, then sure, absolutely, rejoin society. Because if you're struggling with addiction, I don't think that's a good enough reason for a guy not to make a living in his chosen profession, one that he's among the best in the world at. He had to sacrifice his whole life to be great at. Just an addict? No. But recovering addict? Yes.
Well, I will say this. He had the one great season, obviously, and that's what everyone is looking at. It's kind of ironic. This guy has had a lot of opportunities, and it started in college. I mean, he has been obviously a guy that has dealt with substance abuse problems probably since high school, but it really caught up to him in college, and it went from Baylor being dismissed. It went to Utah, him not playing, coming in the league, and obviously being banished from the league most of his career. So we're looking at a guy now that's 26 years old. We say he's a recovering addict. We say he should get an opportunity. I think some teams will say, you know what, I don't want to take the risk on this guy. I'm done. It's kind of ironic. We sit here and say he's getting another opportunity, where when we look at Colin Kaepernick, he can't get an opportunity. It's kind of ironic about our league, but I understand, this is the way it works sometimes. Life's not always fair, as we say. But I think if you're Cleveland, you're going to bring him in, obviously. You've got, 8 games left. You're going to see how he reacts around the locker room. He'll be ready to play probably in November, probably late November. Whether he's ready to play, if you say he is, it'll be kind of interesting. You showcase him. If he does his due diligence for the time he's in the building, and when he leaves the building, you'll have an opportunity either to keep him or maybe to try to sign him or obviously trade him somewhere else. But this is a sad story. It just really is. And everyone's watching it. We're pulling for the guy. I wouldn't bring him on my team. I just think it's been too much.
It's been too much.
Too much drama.